So, the spiritual awakening that I'm going through is not about having this big, energetic, expansive experience. What is actually happening is that I am waking up out of spirituality. Okay? And this is an important stage for people that are actually serious about knowing the truth in their reality, is that they are waking up out of concepts. Spirituality is an industry, okay? It is a very rich field of study that has a lot of beautiful information, a lot of beautiful pointings and messages and poetry. And you can even get deeper into learning about the chakra systems and the meridians and the different points in the body and the reflexology and how that connects to your astrology chart and your gene keys. And there's so many topics that are covered in, psychic phenomena and tarot and yoga and all of the different practices and methods and mantra chanting and the gods and the goddesses. And there's so much beautiful information that we can learn from spiritual wisdom. But ultimately, it's nothing but food for the mind, okay? It's a game for the mind. It is just information and concepts that we don't actually know. You look at something even as ancient as Buddhism or Hinduism, okay? These teachings date back to, Hinduism isn't really even, it's a compilation of many different texts that are from a similar region, but there really is no thing called Hinduism ultimately. It's systems of belief from a certain region of the world. But we go to these kind of ancient understandings and we feel that, okay, because this has lasted for such a long time, because this was channeled so long ago and it's been believed for this long, it must be true. It has tradition to back it. But the one thing that we're missing, that we forget, is that we make up words. Words are made up. Words don't actually exist in reality. They're just sounds that over time we began to create and give meaning to. So concepts and words and language and beliefs are all part of thought. They start in thought first. And because of that, it only exists within this imaginary realm that we call mind. Okay, it doesn't actually exist in reality. And so when you begin to take on these spiritual concepts and take on these beliefs, what you're actually doing is pushing away the truth. Because the truth does not have concepts. The truth is not a concept. This moment that we're in now, my being, my existence, is not a concept, right? And of course, thousands of years ago, just like today, people didn't understand what they were doing here. They didn't get what the purpose of life is. And so it's just normal for this little machine that we have in our head that we call mind, but really it's just the ability to think, for us just to create ideas and imagine reasons for why we exist, and we call it holy and sacred, and we create all this beautiful symbolism around it. And that's fun, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the truth. Just because we believe it doesn't mean it's the truth. In fact, if it's a belief, it's almost guaranteed to not be true, because a belief does not exist anywhere else but in your head. It is created by words that we also made up. And so all of this spiritual wonderland of information and ideas and practices, they can bring you spiritual experiences. And maybe even some people have had, definitely some people have had spiritual awakenings through these practices. But the majority of people haven't. The majority of people are seeking and thinking that if I meditate more, if I find this breath work practice, if I do raise my kundalini or whatever, if I'm very pure and moral and I give 10% of my money. But these are all just rules that the mind has created, that someone told someone, and then someone told another person, and then someone wrote it in a book, and now it's the truth. But the fact is, none of us know what the F is going on. All we have is this moment. All we have is right here. And so, yeah, spirituality is interesting, but when we're relying on spiritual study in order to bring us into a state of awakening, we're actually backpedaling, because all of this spiritual information and practices, it's like we're doing it to try to get somewhere. We're trying to get an outcome. We're trying to go into the future. And that's the problem, because only thought, only mind exists in the future. And so all of these spiritual ideas of, okay, one day I'll get enlightened, or one day I'll have my Kundalini experience, or one day, I'll be pure enough for the divine intelligence to recognize me and I'll be spiritually awakened like all of these teachers that are claiming to be. And that's a whole nother topic. A lot of intellectual people with beautiful words sharing concepts about spirituality, but not actually waking anybody up, because it's all just words. So when you're operating in this level of words, you're operating in the separate self, in the world of illusion. Okay? But there is a space. It's not even a space, it's you. Beyond the thought, you can, if you want to think of it like a dimension, beyond the thought, where is actually the peace, People are searching for these spiritual experiences or material experiences because we believe that that's what's going to bring us peace. But peace is never in the future. It's always right here in this moment. And it's the thinking and the strategizing and the searching for an outcome that is actually keeping us from that peace. So spirituality, in a way, and all the study of it is really no different than the study of finance or the study of architecture, and it has this kind of divine, sacredness, and we have the priests and the holy men and the temples and these sacred spaces all dedicated towards this divine intelligence of God. God is right here. God is not in some book. It's not in some temple. You don't need to create a monument to honor God. God is the everyday, ordinary presence that's in you, that's hearing the words that I'm saying right now. That's watching the thoughts, that's aware of what's happening. So spirituality, many people, there's a lot of good intentions there, I'm sure, with some of the teachers. But when you're going into it so much, it's actually deterring you from what it's pointing to. It's actually deterring you from the deepest truth, which is literally just this moment. And the big kind of funny gotcha moment at the end of the seeking spiritual search is that you had it in you the whole time. You didn't need to go to India. You didn't need to do your 500-hour teacher training. You didn't need to have some tantric orgasm. You literally just needed to look at what is here now. And that is not a concept. You don't need a head full of concepts in order to understand and experience the truth of God, which is always here. It's not some thing in the sky. It's not some that thing that you achieve through practice. It's right here. Thank you. Blessings.